There's a rare kind of power, quiet, invisible, and devastating. It doesn't shout, threaten, or command. It asks, and in asking, it conquers. Most men try to dominate by force, louder words, stronger tone, harder logic. But Socrates? He disarmed empires with questions. No sword, no army, just reason sharpened to a blade. In a world where everyone argues to win, Socrates learned to win without arguing. He didn't crush his opponents, he made them see their own contradictions. That's not debate, that's mental jujitsu, turning the enemy's strength against him. The modern world has forgotten this art. We scroll through noise, defend our opinions, and react to every challenge like wounded soldiers of ego. We've traded understanding for outrage, wisdom for victory. But the truth is, peace and dominance can coexist when your mind becomes your weapon. The Stoics learned this from Socrates. Marcus Aurelius mastered it in silence. Seneca wielded it in politics, and Epictetus taught it to slaves who became stronger than kings. This is not about manipulation, it's about mental mastery, the ability to stay unshaken while others drown in emotion, to see through falsehoods without losing calm, to win not by attacking, but by revealing. In this path, you'll learn 5 Socratic rules, 5 timeless mental weapons that can outsmart anyone peacefully. Rules that turn chaos into clarity, conflict into calm, and ego into silence. The question is, are you ready to face truth not through argument, but through reason itself? Rule 1. The question of clarity. The first rule, ask before you answer. Every argument begins not with disagreement, but with confusion. Most people fight ghosts, vague ideas, half-truths, assumptions. They defend what they don't fully understand. Socrates knew this. Before answering, he'd ask, "What do you mean?" A simple question, yet it shattered illusions faster than anger ever could. Imagine someone says, "You're wrong." The instinct is to strike back, but the Stoic pauses and asks, "In what way?" Already the battlefield shifts. The accuser must define his ground. Most crumble right there because their certainty had no roots. Your clarity is your sword. Never swing before you can see. Once a student challenged Socrates, "You say virtue is knowledge, then are evil men merely ignorant?" Socrates smiled. "Define virtue." And the student froze, because he had never truly seen what he claimed to know. This is how you disarm, not through defense but by dissolving confusion. Don't aim to be right, aim to be clear. Because when clarity enters, chaos has no place to hide. In every conversation, there are 2 wars, the one of words and the one of meaning. Win the second, and the first collapses. So when you face opposition, remember, the wise don't rush to prove their point. They strip every statement naked with one blade of reason. What do you mean by that? That's not weakness, that's control. Because when you seek clarity, you don't just outsmart others, you master yourself. Rule 2, the question of truth. The second rule, ask for evidence. Emotion builds illusions, reason tears them down. When someone declares, "This is how it is," ask, "How do you know?" This question divides belief from knowledge, ego from reality. The world is full of confident opinions and empty foundations. People repeat, riposte, react, but few verify. Socrates didn't insult falsehoods. He exposed them with gentle curiosity. "Show me your reason," he'd say, and most had none. Truth doesn't fear inspection. Only lies demand loyalty. You don't have to be aggressive. Your calm is confrontation enough. When you ask for evidence, you force others to look inward, often for the first time. Seneca wrote, "No man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom demands proof, not passion." So next time someone speaks with authority, don't resist or argue. Simply ask, "How do you know?" And then, let silence do the rest. Because silence in the presence of truth is power. But silence in the face of lies is exposure. Rule 3. The question of consequence. The third rule, ask what follows. Every idea, every action has a ripple. Most people think in moments, the wise think in chains. When someone insists, "This is the right way," ask, "And what if everyone did that?" Suddenly, the moral facade begins to crack. Socrates called this the reductio, following an argument to its logical end until it destroys itself. If a man says, "I lie when it helps me," ask him, "Then why should anyone believe you now?" The sword turns inward, not through anger, but logic. Marcus Aurelius warned, "What's bad for the hive is bad for the bee." If your truth can't scale to all, it isn't truth, it's preference. The Stoic sees beyond impulse. He doesn't just ask what is right now, but what becomes right later. So when faced with noise, don't attack it, trace it, follow it to the edge of consequence and let it fall. Rule 4. The question of perspective. The fourth rule. Ask from another angle. Most conflict survives because both sides stare through narrow glass. To break illusion, shift perspective. Socrates often reversed the argument. If you say we must punish the wrongdoer, he'd ask, would you heal the sick by harming them further? The listener is forced to see from another frame. This is how reason humbles pride. The goal isn't to win, it's to widen vision. Epictetus said, men are disturbed not by things, but by their opinions of things. So when someone speaks from anger, don't mirror it. Ask from above it. If you were calm, would you still think this way? In that question, emotion dissolves. Because no man can stay blind while forced to see himself. Perspective is not surrender. It's dominance over reaction. When you can shift the lens, you lead the room. And when others are trapped in their point of view, your stillness becomes strength because you no longer play their game, you redefine it. Rule 5. The question of purpose. The fifth rule. Ask why it matters. Every strong argument hides a hidden wound. When someone defends an opinion with rage, it's rarely about reason. It's about identity. They're not protecting truth, they're protecting self. So ask, why is this important to you? Not as a challenge, but as a mirror. This question pierces deeper than logic. It reveals fear, pride, insecurity, all disguised as conviction. Socrates knew, until a man understands his reason for fighting, he cannot win, even if he's right. The Stoic uses purpose as his compass. When you know why, no one can move you. When you don't, every question becomes a threat. So when faced with resistance, ask gently, why do you believe this matters? The world quiets, because most have never asked themselves that question, and in that silence, truth appears. Purpose ends the war of opinions. It turns noise into understanding, and understanding is the true mark of mastery. Now, 5 rules become 5 tactics. 1. Strategic curiosity. Don't answer fast, delay, let your questions lead. 2. Emotional detachment. Observe tone, not words. When emotion rises, reason waits. 3. Reframing. Replace attack versus defense with seek truth. 4. The pause. Master the silence after a question. Most reveal themselves in that pause. Each of these turns you from a talker into a tactician. A student of truth, not a slave of ego. In a debate, he who remains calm controls the tempo. Your calm is not passivity, it's dominance without display. You don't have to win every battle, you just have to stay unmoved, and in doing so, you win the war of presence. Peaceful dominance begins with control, not of others, but of yourself. When attacked, breathe. When provoked, ask. When misunderstood, clarify. And when disrespected, smile. The weak believe composure is submission. The strong know its command. Seneca said, "He who angers you conquers you." So let no man have that power. You defend not through resistance, but awareness. You respond, not react. And that single difference defines strength. The Stoic warrior walks through chaos untouched, not because he escapes it, but because he governs his response within it. And when he speaks, the world listens. Because silence, from one who can speak, echoes louder than noise. These 5 rules aren't relics. They're strategies for modern warfare. The kind fought in conversations, online debates, and boardrooms. When someone mocks you, clarify. When they exaggerate, ask for evidence. When they moralize, follow the consequence. When they get emotional, shift perspective. And when they lose control, return to purpose. At work, this builds quiet authority. In relationships, it creates peace. On social media, it becomes your armor. Because in a world of noise, calm logic is rebellion. To outsmart anyone peacefully isn't manipulation, it's maturity. The modern Stoic doesn't argue to win, he questions to awaken. He knows that every time he asks rather than attacks, he shapes reality around truth. And that's how wisdom conquers. Socrates never claimed to be wise, only aware of his ignorance. And that, paradoxically, was his strength. Most people seek certainty, the wise seek clarity. Most speak to be heard, the wise listen to understand. The 5 rules are not weapons to use on others, they're mirrors to use on yourself. Ask for clarity in your thoughts. Ask for truth in your beliefs. Ask for consequence in your actions. Ask for perspective in your reactions. Ask for purpose in your path. When these questions become your instinct, you stop arguing with the world and start mastering it. Ego screams, wisdom whispers. Force divides, reason unites. Anger burns, inquiry illuminates. And when all noise fades, what remains is awareness, pure, untouchable, free. The world may chase dominance, but the Stoic learns To conquer others is strength. To conquer oneself, that is peace. This week, don't argue, ask. When someone challenges you, use these 5 rules. Don't aim to win, aim to reveal. Because every question is a mirror, and every moment of silence is power. Practice clarity, seek truth, follow consequence, shift perspective, and return to purpose. Then watch how the world begins to bend, not to your words, but to your wisdom. If this spoke to you, comment 3 words. I choose clarity. What are your views on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I will personally read all of your comments. And if you seriously want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Stay strong. Until next time.